In this video, I want to show you very quickly how to tackle this particular IXL assignment. What we're going to be doing is matching correlation coefficients to scatter plots. Now remember, the correlation coefficient tells you how closely a scatter plot matches the line of best fit. So if the dots on the scatter plot, the plotted points, line up perfectly on the line, then our correlation coefficient will be 1 if it is a positive line and -1 if it is a negative line. So let's look at these two right here. Our two options are that r equals 1 or r equals -0.5. Now the first thing we can tell from this is the slope of the line, whether it's positive or negative. So for r equals 1, we should have a positive slope. Well, that's got to be this guy right here. So we drag that down there. And for this one, we can see the line has a negative slope, so we would expect it to be here. Now we can look at other ways to tell on this. First of all, notice that these points are not very closely attached to the line. That means that it is going to be a correlation coefficient farther away from 1. Remember, the farther these points spread out around the line, the lower the correlation coefficient. This has nothing to do with the slope of the line other than being positive or negative, but rather is just a measure of how closely these dots follow that line. And the closer it is to 0, the less closely those dots are aligned to this. So for this one, r equals 1, so they match up very, very tightly on the line. And for this one, or in fact, they're right on the line. And in this one, r equals -0.5, we have a slightly negative correlation, and we can see that the points don't line up exactly. So let's look at another one just to make sure we've got it. I look at this one, r equals 1. Well, that would be the one that is very tightly matched to the line and has a positive slope. That's got to be right here. And r equals -0.1. So here you can see these dots don't really match up to the line hardly at all. There's just the very slightest hint of a negative correlation right there. And so we would say, because these don't match up to the line very well at all, that this has a correlation of -0.01. Interestingly enough, a correlation of 0, so r equals 0, would mean there's no correlation and these dots are spread out completely randomly throughout. So one more just to make sure we've got it. R equals 1, that's the one where they're right on the line. R equals -0.4. That 0.4 tells us they'll be spread out around the line in kind of like a cloud, and it should have a negative slope, so that would be it right there.